Hey everyone, before you watch the video, I'd just like to recommend that you subscribe to the Books on Toast channel, because if you're watching this video, it's going to change your life. And then you'll be one of those hipsters who said, I subscribed to Books on Toast before that Geek Fruit video.
Yes.
Yeah, one of those cool people, like us. Hello and welcome to Bot Shots. My name is Dinkar, this is Tejas.
Sup?
Hi, how do you do? Oh, yeah, we're fine too.
Yes.
No, what else is up with you?
Waiting for your response.
Do you know what this is? Breaking the fourth wall.
Nice.
Well, and that's relevant to what we're doing today.
Yep.
We're here to talk to you about a character known as Deadpool.
Right. And
Yes.
for those of you who don't know who Deadpool is,
Where were you these past couple of years? No, really, we want to know.
no, no, we don't. But,
Really? And then
for
what
those
happened?
For,
Shh, I'm having a conversation here.
for those of you who don't know who Deadpool,
Okay.
who he is.
And how did that make you feel?
Famous character.
No, really? Oh, yeah, I know.
We have to do
Hold on, I'm just getting a call. I'm in the middle of something. I'll have to call you back. So for those of you who don't know who Deadpool is,
Yes.
well, we're going to offer you a handy list of places you can start to find out. Without further ado, let's roll the titles. Geek Fruit presents Bot Shots, presented by Books on Toast, Deadpool.
Asterix, this may not be the final title.
Asterisk, this may not be the final title. Below that, with a comma,
Let us start
assortments.
at the very beginning. A very good place to start.
Yes.
So I hear. The debut of Deadpool.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
All right. Webster's dictionary defines Deadpool as a pool which hath been dead. So, he was created by a duo called Rob Liefeld and...
Oh, you left a hard name for me.
Oh, yeah.
Fabian Nicieza, I want to say is his name.
As Nicieza said, God is dead.
Yeah.
And hence, let's go with Deadpool.
So Deadpool is a guy whose name is Wade Wilson. He was a mercenary, and he was kind of like, like a funny dude beforehand, itself.
Yeah.
And after he kind of fails a ton of missions because he's got some kind of like a moral code. He gets abducted by the Weapon X program, and they infuse him with the healing factor, which makes him kind of regenerate really quickly,
But
obviously.
they overdid it.
But they overdo it, so
Yeah.
he kind of loses his, he basically becomes like psychotic almost, and that's what kind of makes him also really funny.
Oh, is that what makes him funny? I thought he was funny already.
No, I mean, like, he was funny already, but like he becomes like basically the power of him being like meta and stuff
Right.
like that is
because
informed
he
by-
has
yeah, yeah.
an overdose of healing factor.
Yes.
That's his comic origin. His behind-the-scenes creation story is basically that Rob Liefeld was a big fan of Spider-Man and of the DC character Deathstroke.
Right.
And he
Slade Wilson.
Slade Wilson. So he just sort of mashed the two of them up and went like, what if we had a guy called Wade Wilson who kind of looked like a cross?
He looks like his suit and everything is like very reminiscent of
Yeah.
like Deathstroke as well. So,
And they put him into the first comic that they were doing together, I think.
New Mutants.
New Mutants.
Yeah.
That was Deadpool's debut. New Mutants is it's a long-running series. It's basically a spin-off of the lesser X-Men, a bunch of youngsterish X-Men. I never liked it too much. Did you read much of it?
No, but they are making a movie out of it.
Are they?
Yeah, making
well,
the first
cash
X-Men
in, why
horror
not?
movie. But yeah,
Right.
let's.
It's not a great series if you ask me. It's kind of very serious. It's not got a lot of it's especially for modern readers. It's kind of slow. It's a very serialized story.
Okay.
So when they introduce Deadpool into it, he's a pretty straight ahead kind of character. He just pops up and he's like, I'm gonna kill Cable, and Cable is the leader of the New Mutants in this particular instance. He almost kills Cable, but then Cable defeats him and he fucks off.
Yeah.
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 I'm cursing again because I'm Deadpool.
Right.
Yes.
I'm Cap.
So that's our first recommendation. Let's move on to recommendation number 2, which is
Deadpool, the Circle Chase.
Deadpool the Circle Chase was Deadpool's first mini-series, and it's a mad world.
How many mads are in there?
About 18. I think I got all of them. It's a mad world, but with a bunch of mercs and assassins and such. So this employer of various mercs in the Marvel Universe called Tolliver has died, and he's left a will that holds the... Yes. I mean, no, this is the premise.
Okay.
He's dead at the start.
Still, spoilers. Yeah.
Okay, spoilers for the thing before this, whatever it was. He's left a will that holds the key to this ultimate weapon that can change humanity forever, and everyone's out to get it, including Deadpool. So this basically follows Deadpool on that journey across 4 issues.
Do they find out what the ultimate weapon is? Is it?
Yes.
It is?
That's a spoiler. It is,
Oh
yes.
shit! I'm so sorry.
Yeah. We'll bleep that out.
It's only the thing that can kill.
Okay, so Tejas entirely spoiled that, but we bleeped it out, and I'll tell you what
And
he
you know what?
said.
You shouldn't read this
he
one
said,
anyway.
yeah, don't read it. It stars fuck stick, They'll have to bleep it anyway.
Okay, cool. Anyways, I don't know
So,
how that's gonna
The
work.
Circle Chase, a fairly serious Deadpool miniseries. Worth a read. It's good, but it's not the kind of Deadpool. It's not the Deadpool you're looking for. That's a reference from another Disney property. Recommendation number 3 is the original run of Deadpool solo series, which is Deadpool Volume 1.
Yeah.
So around this time, writers changed, and a writer called Joe Kelly started writing. And he's the one who kind of invented the modern persona of Deadpool as we know it. So this whole like meta, fourth wall breaking kind of thing. A very quippy guy. I will recommend one issue in particular if you want to jump into it. It'll throw you straight into how weird Deadpool comics can get, which is Deadpool Volume 1, number 11. In this particular comic, it begins with Deadpool being thrown back in time through some weird teleportation accident into a Spider-Man comic from the 60s.
Oh,
So the entire
nice.
story literally recreates panels. I believe they actually took panels from the Spider-Man comics in the 60s and changed Spider-Man into Deadpool, which is not that hard. You just have to color over him,
Yeah,
I think.
okay.
And they swapped out all the dialogue. So it's basically Deadpool making fun of everything about the 60s and Spider-Man. It's really weird.
Nice. Deadpool, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So basically, the premise here is that Deadpool keeps waking up with half his organs missing. And he regenerates them, so it's not really an issue for him. So at first he ignores them. And when this particular arc starts, he realizes that this is becoming an issue and he suspects that his organs are being sold off.
Right.
So he teams up with Captain America and Wolverine.
Yes, you know that funny duo.
This
over
is
there.
when they put in the thingies with the CGI and the whatnot.
The CGI, yes.
Snicked. They can afford the CGI but not the sound effects. So I had to make the sound effect myself. Anyway, so if you're looking for a modern version of Deadpool, a characterization that's kind of close to what you see in the movies, then Deadpool, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the place to start. It's hilarious. It's got a sensibility that you will get even if you're not a comics fan. But if you are a comics fan, it still works.
Recommendation number 5, the Deadpool Killology.
Yeah, is it? It's the Deadpool Killogy, like a play on trilogy. Killology would make it like a science.
Or like Loveology.
Like
L-O-V-E-ology.
Loveology. Yeah. Rishta Hamara
No, stop.
50-50. Okay. Moving on from the Shan and Sagarika references, the Deadpool Killogy is basically a bunch of non-canon mini-series in which Deadpool kills everyone and everything. That's literally it.
But why does he do this? It's like an Elseworlds thing, or like a what if
Yeah, so
version?
I said it's non-canon, so it has no continuity because the villain in these is continuity.
Okay.
So the premise, which is really weird, is that Deadpool kind of awakens to the idea that comics characters and him and all the people he knows all live in this like never-ending cycle of life. So he realizes he can never truly die, basically. It's like life, except he can't truly die, whatever. Everything is misery because he lives in a comic, so he decides to end everything. So there is Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, in which he kills literally every single person in the Marvel Universe.
Nice.
Almost, maybe, I don't know, no spoilers.
Well, that clearly was one. So.
Yeah, was it?
Right.
Well, there is a sequel series that just came out last year, which I haven't read yet, called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe Again. So clearly he didn't have much of an effect the first time.
Nice.
There's also Deadpool Kills Deadpool, which is where he kills the Deadpool cops, the Corps, the Deadpool Corps. Do you know these guys?
The Corps.
The Corps.
No, I don't know about
They're pronounced the Corps, but it's
like
the
the Green
cops.
Lantern Corps.
Yeah, it's like the Green Lantern Corps, but it's spelt the cops. This will be much clearer when they put up the subtitles for this thing. But basically, the Deadpool Corps is a bunch of Deadpool-affiliated superheroes. So there's Dogpool, there's Lady Deadpool. I know that sounds ridiculous, but this is the truth. Here's a picture of Dogpool. He's a real thing. So anyway, in this particular thing, he kills a bunch of different versions of Deadpool. There's a Deadpool version of Galactus. There's a Panda Pool, which is Deadpool, but a giant panda for some reason.
Yeah.
There's a Deadpool version of Wolverine, and he kills all of them.
Nice.
Basically, all these comics are a collection of jokes and killing montages. So it's kind of gory. It's not for everybody, so check it out if that interests you. There's also Deadpool Killustrated, which is where he goes into old books and kills literary characters. So I wouldn't recommend it for you guys, since you read books and whatnot.
As in, it'll offend them.
It'll offend them.
Got it.
Yes.
All right. Recommendation number 6: Spider-Man slash Deadpool.
Spider-Man slash Deadpool is a running series which basically features Spider-Man and Deadpool teaming up. So Deadpool has always idolized Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's because he's
Because he's a
big
straight up
fan.
rip-off.
No, well, he's not
Oh
a
yes,
rip-off.
a big fan.
He is a big fan. I think
Yes.
why he's always liked Spider-Man is because he's like the moral center that he cannot be.
That's exactly the premise
Yes.
of this entire series. So it begins with Deadpool being hired to kill Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yeah, and
So
nobody
there's-
does. It's like they've
Nobody
they
does.
retconned a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
like previous stuff. It's cool.
Spider-Man keeps calling Peter Parker his boss,
Boss, yeah.
which is like the stupidest cover you can
Yeah.
think of.
It's literally
yeah.
worse than Clark Kent. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, it's like he might as well have said like, "My mom is not allowing you, Peter Parker." So that's what Spider-Man Deadpool is about. It's a great series. There's a continuity to it, so I'd recommend you start from number 1.
And if you really like Spider-Man, you really enjoy this. I think.
Yeah,
I
you'll
really
definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, because it's nice to see them riff off each other, and you'd think that Spider-Man would have a tough time handling Deadpool, but it doesn't always turn out that way. I think that's what's really cool
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Dilkar, I can't believe you missed out one of the most important arcs in the Deadpool history.
It's actually the least important arc in Deadpool history, which is what makes it amazing.
Okay, what is it?
Our next recommendation is Deadpool v Gambit. Subtitle: The V stands for versus.
Is that really it?
That's actually the subtitle. The full title of the book is Deadpool v Gambit. The V stands for versus.
Nice.
It's again the only reason I found it. It's not a very talked about arc. It's almost inconsequential. Like the entire first comic, for example, is almost wordless. It's just it's a never-ending. It's like a series of Where's Waldo paintings with Deadpool and Gambit chasing each other through a carnival.
Nice.
It's a weird, very light, fluffy story. Deadpool and Gambit are basically hired for the same job, and they don't know who's got it wrong. And they're trying to catch each other and figure out why.
Nice.
So I would definitely recommend this as a read because it's really the lightest, most fun version of Deadpool you'll find. And if you happen to have read the Trilogy, then it's a good palate cleanser, which is also, again, how I read it.
You cleansed your palate?
I cleansed my palate by reading Deadpool v
Oh, okay,
Gambit
cool. Oh, like with a comic book.
with
I
a
see.
comic book.
I
Yes,
see.
it's a
All right.
palate cleanser in a comic book sense. So that's Deadpool v Gambit. The V stands for versus. Our final recommendation involves a character who is being introduced in Deadpool 2, the movie.
Yes.
And this character is...
Cable.
Yes,
And the
that's
name of the series is just.
Wait,
called-
let me guess. Deadpool and Cable.
No,
Ah!
the opposite.
I had a 50% chance of getting that.
Yeah,
It's
so
obviously Cable and Deadpool.
But yeah, but I think there's a reason for that. Cable is.
Cable
seems
was
like
the biggest star when this happened, though.
He
Yeah.
was the biggest star, and I think it also leads completely from his perspective, at least for the first run of the series.
This is when they realized that Deadpool plays especially great with other characters because he basically goes into other people's stories and like creates
shit
havoc.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Which is what he basically does with
Essentially,
Cable.
in
And
this
why
world.
Cable and Deadpool is a great pairing, aside from the fact that Deadpool was introduced in a Cable comic, which is New Mutants, is because Cable is a really serious guy.
Yeah.
He's like ridiculously tough. He's like a man of few words and whatnot.
But you'll see that, like as this series progresses, like Cable starts behaving a lot more like
Yeah,
Deadpool,
he becomes
and he
more
hates himself
Deadpool-like.
for
Yeah.
it, which is also great. I like
which is what the premise of the first arc of Cable and Deadpool is, which is
the Church of the Church of
exactly
One. Yes.
yeah. It's called If Looks Could Kill.
It
which-
looks good. Kill.
Yes. So basically, what happens is due to a combination of weird events, Cable and Deadpool mix up their DNA. Like, I mean,
Well,
he
actually,
basically swallows.
He swallows Deadpool
Yeah.
and throws him up.
Yes.
I don't know how this is possible, but it does
It's
happen.
comics. Everything
Yeah.
is possible.
I think it's because both of them are suffering from some kind of this poison that is coursing through their veins. Cable
Yeah.
has something called a TO virus with techno-organic virus, but his telekinesis keeps it in check.
Yes.
And Deadpool's entire healing factor is what keeps him alive,
Yeah.
pretty much, because otherwise he's suffering from cancer.
And they had to combine the two so both of them could survive.
So Cable
Which apparently the way to do it
basically
is swallow the guy.
Yeah, Cable eats a bit of Deadpool, and because he's in his body, he regenerates, and so he throws him up. It's weird.
Comics are weird. They make no sense,
Yeah,
but
but
they're
it's a
fun.
great- it's a
so
great-
here we
it's
are.
a great,
yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
great
good read
series,
though.
yeah.
It's really funny and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much like Cable and Deadpool.
No, but there's some serious themes in this one, man.
In Cable and Deadpool?
Yeah.
Kind
like,
of,
as
yeah.
in because Cable's entire life goal is to make the world he has this weird code, and he's trying to be like this warrior ninja poet kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he is.
So I mean, and then you infuse Deadpool into that, and then it just becomes this weird, it's
fucks
weird
shit up.
comedy in a very actually like a serious arc. Which
Yes.
I think is cool. Yeah.
Cool.
There you go, man. That's all we kind of know, I suppose, about Deadpool and some comics you should check out. Man, the problem with Deadpool is that his own history is so messed up, and like he's been in so many different weird versions of himself, like of the character himself, like in different comics, that it's difficult.
Like
to
the
kind
Deadpool core.
Yeah.
Which is the weirdest thing I've ever read.
Yeah, there's no way.
It
to
makes
kind
no
of
sense.
start at the beginning, like where you can start with.
But I think that's also the advantage with Deadpool, is that there's no long-running story as such. You could jump into any of the things we've named pretty much cold without knowing a lot about Deadpool, other than the fact that he's a merc with a mouth or whatever, and you're good. In fact, most Deadpool comics have like a very self-aware meta thing at the top, which usually features like a baby version of Deadpool. We'll show you a picture. That's a picture. But yeah, there's a recap explaining what Deadpool does and what the story is up till this point. So
and
you
the
could
writers like reference themselves a lot.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah.
So you could start reading Deadpool from anywhere, really. Which means this entire video you just spent all your time watching was kind of pointless. You should have just picked up a book.
Yeah.
Fuck you doing, man?
Sure. I mean,
follow us on Geekfruit HQ.
Hey guys, so if you enjoyed whatever you were watching, it's irrelevant because we do an audio version of that. It's called
Imagine this,
Podcast.
But you just shut your eyes the entire time.
Yeah.
And listen to us.
better looking people.
Yeah.
It's called the Geek Fruit Podcast. We've done about 150 episodes of it.
Yes.
It comes out every Monday. Check it out on iTunes, Spotify, the IVM Podcast app, wherever you listen to podcasts. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.